Payday advance facts. Payday advance loan are considered as short-term finances that you can utilize to sustain you throughout rough times, especially worrying about monetary troubles. There are a great deal that intended to be in the know about payday loans. Before using payday advance, one need to understand the affixed expenses and also effects to avoid shedding much. In this topic, you can have a quick introduction on exactly how cash advances works. Additional truth and information about the appropriate usage and also safe transaction will also be tackled. Meaning of payday loans. Payday advance are loans that are gotten if an individual is in dire requirement of cash. One can have the opportunity to have a cash advance, yet only in a small amount. Payday advance can help you with when you're momentarily out of cash money. The moment frame a cash advance lasts is not less than 2 weeks, at least. That is only applicable if an individual asked for simply a small amount of cash, like a number of dollars. To be able to request for a payday loan, the person commonly writes a check stating the total up to be obtained, which additionally includes a fee. Typically, the one who is asking for leaves the check to the lender. However, what happens if you can't settle it at the correct time? You can maintain a trolling for the car loan to be prolonged. You don't need to repay it simultaneously, although you may locate it unexpected if your fees keep on collecting. Cash advance loans prices. Usually, cash advance are fairly costly. Individuals who enter into this pay annual percentage rate or APR that amounts to an overwhelming percentage. Instance, if you have borrowed $200 to be spent for 2 weeks, you can pay a cost of $40. And if you can pay the obtained amount as well as the cost on schedule, you may discover it extremely troubling to pay even more increasingly. This type of percent can be quite alarming, especially for those that can only pay a lot. Challenges of payday loans. One of the major pitfalls of payday advance loan is that the company does not really help you address your issue regarding financial troubles. They only make the issue available even worse because of the high percent they are imposing on their clients. Despite what your trouble is, the loaning company doesn't really care for as length you pay the amount and also cost adjoined with it. As a result of the percentage cost that is attached to the total up to be obtained, instead of aiding you up, it just pulls you down. Although, in times of situation, payday loans can be very valuable. Individuals consider it over every danger that is specified. Occasionally cash advance make good sense, most specifically if the person borrowing money needs it so much. This would only request temporary cash advance. There is a total distinction with lasting payday loans. Problem might arise if points are currently out of hand. If the checks that you have composed for lending facilities bounced, this will show up on your integrity. Outcome? Fewer financial institutions will certainly be thrilled to collaborate with you. Payday advance loan alternatives. There are lots of alternatives in exchange of payday advance loan. These are some. Having your own emergency fund that will be kept in your interest-bearing account, however this one's much easier stated than done. Open a credit rating for emergency situation objectives. Obtain a part-time job, yet this will take some time and will certainly not be very helpful when on-the-spot emergency situation arises. Think about peer financing service for a better as well as straightforward deal. Payday loans, no faxing. The future promises a lot of points, and with the power of the net, people can do some things which are not possible years ago. The net offers benefit and also flexibility to the lives of individuals, and among the very best things that you can do online is obtain payday loans. What can you receive from these payday loans? It's not daily that you run into certain situations that need you to spend immediate cash money. Well, the truth is, it's additionally not every day that you have sufficient cash in your pockets. So what will you perform in this type of scenario? The response would be obtaining, right? Most individuals will want to obtain money in order to fund the urgent cost. If you can borrow from individuals around you, you can make an application for payday loans online. There are a great deal of firms on the net offering payday advance. These payday loans are simply temporary finances which you require to pay off on your next payroll period. To ensure that would certainly be 14 to 30 days. It's really short time, therefore you require to see to it that there is an extreme requirement for the lending before you file an application to prevent any kind of monetary troubles in the future, simply in case you're unable to settle the funding. You can get payday loans without the use of facsimile machine. Facsimile machine are generally utilized in protected funding when you require to send your personal details and various other essential documents to the lender. This is time taking in on your part along with an added cost. If you prefer no faxing lending, The cash advance will absolutely suit you. If you prepare to get a payday loan, you can access the internet as well as find a trusted loan provider. If they have a physical office in your area, you require to consult with the lending institution directly. However, if the loan provider does not have a workplace in your area, you can meet via the computer system. You can likewise connect with the loan provider business through email or the telephone. Typical consumers who are simply beginning to build their debt or have negative credit report can also benefit from this type of car loan, since lenders do not carry out credit report checks. Considering that the lending institution will go to a risk in providing you money, they require to get several of your personal info like name, address, get in touch with number, SS number, and also one personal check. These are things that the loan provider will ask from you in exchange for the funding that you're most likely to obtain. The no faxing attribute of payday advance loan bring in millions of consumers throughout the world. By benefiting from the car loan, you can conserve a lot of power and also time. Hectic individuals will surely benefit from the funding because they can get the financing quantity in just a couple of hours after confirmation. If you apply in the morning, you can already get the loan by nighttime. However, if you used in the midday, you will obtain the finance the following day. Since payday loans are extremely practical, most people are already right into the practice of filing for said loans frequently. This is not good, and also it is not suggested, since you're wasting too much money on the rate of interest fees. Never ever rely on the payday advance for sustenance due to the fact that you will certainly just end up wasting money. Constantly bear in mind that the payday advance loan was largely created to satisfy instantaneous or urgent demand for cash money. If there is no urgency, then there is no need to apply for the finance. The majority of, especially if you still have adequate cash in your pockets to money your everyday costs. You can benefit from cash advance during extreme demand. There are still various other options that you can look into. Instead of losing your cash on the rate of interest charges because of frequent loaning, why not set up a savings account? Learn to conserve money so that when the requirement occurs, you will have some money to spend. You can also organize with your company to subtract a particular quantity from your paycheck every month and also save it for you. You can simply obtain the money when an emergency scenario pops up. Bear in mind to utilize the no faxing fundings during emergencies only. Cash advance loans, pros and disadvantages. Every little thing in this globe has a silver lining as well as a bad side. Oftentimes, these things identify whether one's suggestion or endeavor deserves the risk or not. This is additionally real with payday advance loan. The term payday advance is stemmed from the word payday, in which you will pay off the finance on the claim time. What is a payday loan? For those of you who don't understand what the loan is all around, this is an exceptional opportunity to find its good and also the poor side. Basically, a payday advance loan is a short-term funding given to customers in between cash advance durations to assist fund immediate expenditures or troubles. The fundings are sometimes called cash loan or paycheck breakthroughs, and also is typically limited to $1,500 only. Payday advance have actually most definitely gotten considerable conflict. This is where the cons get in, as critics assert that lending institutions target the defenseless poor and the innocent young people. These people, as the critics say, do not recognize the relevance of cash. They even call lenders as loan sharks due to the high interest charges, which can reach as high as 250% depending on the credit rating of the consumer and also the lending amount. People who belong in the center course are even much better off utilizing certificate cards instead of acquiring cash advance due to the fact that the rate of interest costs have to do with 25% only. So you see, the inadequate field and also the young adults pay a much greater interest on the finances. If there are critics, then there are additionally proponents of payday advance. They intend to impart to individuals the pros or the benefits that you can derive in looking for payday advance. Proponents claim that the short-term payday advance are far better than the long-lasting fundings offered by nationwide financial institutions. The handling costs are much less as contrasted to the long-term car loan applications. Some advocates likewise claim that in case of late bank card payments or jumping checks wherein the consumer incurs expenses, the prices incurred by payday loan debtors are still much less. The traditional passions are not that profitable, and also even New York City's Federal Financial Institution Reserve claimed that the fundings can sustain cash flow in between paydays. Households can appreciate living a better life with the aid of the cash advance, particularly when immediate demand for cash is required. The monthly spending plan will not have to endure since there is an alternate source of instantaneous cash money. Another good thing regarding the car loans is that people with low credit rating can likewise avail because it is not included in their criteria. Their standards for using loans include the age, the work as well as salary, as well as a bank account. Once you adhere to these criteria, you can currently avail of the finance. There is no need to fax records and also other vital details due to the fact that whatever is done online. You just need to give a few details about yourself as well as fill in the application. Afterwards, you can currently send the application and wait till the cash amount is transferred to your account. So you see, the comfort is all there and you can simply settle the loan amount on your following cash advance. If you think that the pros surpass the disadvantages, after that you can take advantage of these payday loans. The decision is totally yours. Besides, the payday advance loan are made to meet immediate demand for cash as well as it is not planned to be made use of for daily intake. When you require money severely as well as you're incapable to obtain from family members or close friends, this is the best service that you can obtain. Still, if you can save a little amount each month to cover unexpected expenses, all the better. As a liable adult, you should recognize exactly how to handle all your expenses, even the urgent ones. If you have savings, after that you will certainly not borrow money. Simply in case you borrow via payday advance, make certain that you pay promptly to ensure that you will not have troubles in the future, particularly that worrying your credit report documents. And also remember to borrow only when required. Payday loans. Bad credit history? Not a problem. It is a truth that emergency situations can occur to anybody. Even if you have a good credit report rating or a bad one at that, you have to bear in mind that when time comes for monetary requirements which you are right in between cash advances, you will certainly have trouble in obtaining the cash. What extra if you have a negative debt? Surely, no one would also dare offer you some cash due to your credit history ranking. Nonetheless, the good news is, there is a type of lending where you will have the ability to obtain the cash money that you need even if you have a poor credit rating. This sort of car loan is called payday advances. The fantastic thing about this type of loan is that it has the ability to provide for all kinds of individuals who are utilized. Likewise, even if you have poor credit scores, you will certainly still be able to obtain authorized for this kind of financing. You need to keep in mind that usually, car loan applications by people with negative credit report are turned down by lenders. Nevertheless, with payday loans, you can be certain that there are excellent loan plans created for individuals with poor debt. Actually, mostly all people obtaining this kind of finance are approved. Why? Well, firstly, you have to bear in mind that payday advance are the type of car loans where settlement is immediately subtracted from your wage. This implies that the loan providers make sure that you will certainly be able to settle the cash you obtain from them. Additionally, you do not need to existing or submit any sort of files for you to obtain approved for the finance. All you need to do is send an application form for the finance as well as in an issue of a few days you will certainly obtain the cash in your savings account. An additional great aspect of payday advance loan is that you do not precisely need to settle the entire finance in just a single cash advance. Besides, if you do and also you obtain rather a large amount of money, you would not have anything to reside on up until the following payday. You would not intend to go hungry or get tossed out of your apartment or condo for not paying the rental fee, would you? Even if you need to repay the funding, you still require cash to live your everyday life. So, it is additionally important that you should pick the best payment plan in order for you to conveniently repay the whole principal of the lending as well as the interest. As you can see, even if you have a negative credit report, you will have the ability to get this type of finance. Because the loan providers make sure that you will have the ability to repay the loan on your next cash advance, they are fairly lax regarding the credit history. So, whenever you need money urgently, which the next payday is 2 weeks from now, you will certainly see that cash advance are the best type of funding for you. Even if you have negative credit history, you will certainly have the ability to get approved for this certain funding. It is straightforward to apply for, and it is likewise very simple to pay back. With the adaptable settlement prepare for this type of lending, you can be certain that you will certainly be able to get the cash you require as well as be comfortable paying off the financing. Cash advance loans, borrowing cash with bad credit history. Most of us recognize that economic emergency situations can occur at any time. We likewise understand that circumstances like this can be rather hard to handle. Nevertheless, what if the situation was much worse than you imagined? Suppose the next cash advance is in another 2 weeks? Including in that, what happens if you have bad credit score? Undoubtedly you will believe that there is no chance that you can raise the money in such a short notice, and also you absolutely will think that lending institutions will not even consider offering you the money you require as a result of your negative credit history. However, with Payday Advanced Loan, you will see that you will certainly have the ability to obtain the money that you need promptly even if you have a bad credit. This sort of finance can deal with almost every person. Nonetheless, to get authorized for this kind of funding, you initially require some type of revenue, or you require to have a job. Besides, lenders or loan providers will depend on your earnings or your income in order for you to settle your lending. If you are unemployed, then just how will the loan providers obtain their money back with rate of interest? So, initially you require to have a job. The second would certainly be filling out an application form for the loan. Afterwards, all you require to do is wait, obtain the authorization, and also see the cash in your checking account. You also require to remember that there are also some lenders that use various payment systems for this sort of finance. Some funding can be paid in as little as 1 cash advance, while there are some that can go as long as 5 cash advances and even extra. Make certain that you pick a repayment plan for this type of finance that you are most comfortable with. Constantly bear in mind that if you settle the lending previously, you will certainly need to secure more money from your salary. Yet, if you settle the loan in a longer settlement strategy, after that you will certainly end up paying a lot even more interest plus the principal. So, select the settlement strategy that you are most comfy with, which are, one that will certainly not squeeze your wage dry, and one that will not leave you paying even more cash than you obtained. Although it assists to have an excellent credit rating, it is not always a demand in this kind of funding. Due to the truth that you will issue post-dated checks to the lender that is dated precisely or the day after your payday, they will make sure that they will obtain their cash back with rate of interest. So, for them, the danger is reduced. Likewise, due to the fact that the repayment for the finance will certainly be immediately subtracted from your salary, you don't require to stress over forgetting about it. So, the threat is additionally extremely low for you. The only thing that you need to be stressed over is that your payday will be postponed as a result of unavoidable scenarios. These are things that you have to remember. With these in mind, you can be sure that you will have the ability to obtain the money you need momentarily. Notification. With cash advance, the process is a lot easier, faster, and also a lot smoother than any other types of finances. Even if you have negative credit report, you can still get the money you require with this kind of funding. Cash advance loans. Instantly getting the funds you required. What are payday loans? Essentially, what this suggests is spend for a couple of days or a car loan that you will repay when your following salary day gets here. Now, why do people take this type of funding? First of all, this sort of funding is generally secured by people that are a little brief on cash money due to a particular scenario with their cash advance due in 1 or 2 weeks. So, think of a scenario where you've spent almost all your money on grocery stores and also energy expenses when an emergency scenario develops, such as emergency situation, medical situations. As if this is not annoying enough, attempt having the reality that your following salary schedules in 2 more weeks and that you require the money now to deal with the situation in your hands. For the majority of you, you recognize that remaining in this type of situation can be fairly aggravating. It offers you the sensation of being pointless. Anyhow, if you truly do require the cash money, after that there is a way for you to do so. And also, no, you don't have to market your TV or your unusual baseball card collection. However, all you need to do is look for a cash advance. The wonderful thing about this certain loan is that you don't necessarily require to have a good credit score rating so as to get approval from the lending institutions. The truth that you will certainly offer a blog post dated check called to the loan provider with a particular quantity. They understand without doubt that you will be able to repay the financing in time. This suggests that there is little risk for lending institutions and also much to gain, particularly the service fee and the interest. So, overall, you don't need to have a good credit score. In fact, some lenders don't also take a look at your credit history when you obtain this sort of lending. Another wonderful aspect of this sort of lending is that application is very easy and also fast. You do not need to offer a bag filled with papers similar to you would certainly in various other loans, such as mortgages and also vehicle loan, but you will just require to complete an application and likewise an evidence of your revenue, depending upon just how much you make. The lending institutions will identify just how much they will be willing to offer you. They require to recognize if you have the capacity to pay back the loan you are asking for. This is why they will intend to take a look at your proof of revenue in order for them to know just how much cash you make, which will certainly help them identify how much cash they will offer you in addition to know if you have the capacity to pay back the financing. That's it. Likewise, the settlement for payday advance is quite flexible. As a matter of fact, there are also some settlement preparers that you can choose from. Always bear in mind that you need to pick the one that has repayment terms you are most comfy with, or else you will either wind up broke on the day of your salary or pay even more passion than what you originally borrowed. As you can see, payday advances are headache-totally free financing. With ease lending, you can be sure that you will be able to avail of the funds you need at a moment's notification. Payday loans, securing money in times of need. Picture remaining in a circumstance where you remain in between paydays and that you already spent the cash you carry, energy expenses, grocery stores, and also on that particular new pair of sneakers that you have constantly intended to have. Currently, what happens if an unanticipated emergency showed up where you need cash? What if the situation is so urgent that the repayment can't wait up till your next payday? You need to encounter the truth that this circumstance can take place to you anytime and anywhere. So, if you don't have any cash money accessible, which you urgently need cash that it cannot wait up till your following payday, then you might want to try getting payday advance loans. This kind of lending is the fastest method to obtain the money you need, especially when you require the cash in between paydays. The fantastic feature of this sort of car loan is that you can pay it back on the next payday with little interest. Also, there are also payday advance loans where you will have an option on how many paydays you will certainly agree to spend for the financing. For example, if you need $1,000 which you will gain regarding $700 on your next cash advance, you can always pay $300 on the next cash advance, another $300 on the following, and also if you choose to do so, you can pay the entire lending plus rate of interest on the following cash advance. One more great feature of this sort of funding is that since it is just one of the fastest methods to obtain cash money, which the creditor is sure that you will certainly have the ability to pay the finance on the day of your wage, they will certainly often let you obtain the funding even if you have a poor credit report. As a matter of fact, some lending institutions do not also check for the debtor's credit rating when they offer cash with a payday advance loan bargain. As you can see, this type of financing can absolutely conserve you in times of monetary dilemma and that you remain in between cash advances. However, you need to keep in mind that you require to obtain from a respectable lender. And also, you also require to select an adaptable repayment technique. You need to keep in mind the fact that you also need cash in order to live your life. For example, if you will certainly make $700 on the next payday, and you obtained $1,000 on a cash advance, then attempt to budget it well up until you reach the following payday. If you showed up in a budget of $400, then get a payment plan where you will just pay around $200 every cash advance till you pay off the principal of the car loan as well as the rate of interests. That's how you must choose a layaway plan on cash advance. Besides, if you give all you made on your cash advance, what are you most likely to reside on? Undoubtedly you would intend to plead your co-workers for some cash for you to eat, as well as you most definitely wouldn't wish to borrow any more money from your loved one. In conclusion, with the appropriate payment plan, and the right loan provider, you will certainly see that cash advance can help you. Although you will pay added for the passion, you need to think about that this sort of funding will be able to help you whenever the moment for financial need comes. Payday loans, the solution to your financial concerns. We understand for a fact that emergencies can take place anytime and also anywhere, as well as it can be fairly expensive. This is why you require to be able to have some financial savings in order for you to have something to invest in case situations similar to this happen. Nevertheless, suppose this takes place when you have little cash and that you remain in between cash advances? This can truly be an extremely frustrating situation to be in. Nonetheless, you can resolve your monetary problems quickly by getting payday advance loan. Essentially, this type of lending is a short-term finance where you will pay the finance back on your next wage or payday. It's truly that straightforward. Nevertheless, you might still have questions relating to the lending application, such as: are there any records required when getting the loan? Will you still be accepted for the finance even if you have poor credit scores? How much will the rates of interest be in this type of car loan? Can you prolong the settlement duration? Are there any kind of payment prepares readily available? First of all, this sort of funding is an extremely straightforward sort of loan. As mentioned before, all you need to do is apply for it and also pay it back on your next salary. The excellent feature of this finance is that you do not also require to have any files. All you need is an evidence of employment as well as evidence of revenue. And also, of course, you additionally require a valid ID, such as your chauffeur's permit, birth certification, or your social security card. You don't require any special documents when you apply for this financing. Regarding your credit rating, Payday Advance does not necessarily need you to have an excellent debt score. Although a good credit rating can assist as well as it can additionally reduce the interest rates, you require to consider the fact that cash advance are taken into consideration to be a reduced threat financing in the part of loan providers. Due to the fact that they are sure that you will pay off the lending on your following payday via article dated checks, they do not necessarily require you to have a great credit ranking. As a matter of fact, some lenders won't also take a look at your credit history. The interest rate is quite reduced for this type of financing. Nonetheless, it still depends on the lending institution. Some might use finances that have greater interest rates, while there are additionally others that can offer you reduced interest rates. If you can't afford to spend for whatever in a solitary payday, after that you will see that this sort of loan can be readjusted in regards to repayment. You can pay it off in 2 paydays or perhaps more. Nevertheless, you have to remember that the longer you pay off the funding, the more passion will gather. You need to remember that you need to pick settlement strategies that you fit with. It should not be also limited where you will certainly make use of practically your entire wage to pay off the finance. Besides, you wouldn't wish to wait for the next wage day for you to have some cash to acquire food, would certainly you? Additionally, if you select a longer settlement plan, after that you might end up paying even more rate of interest than the principal of the loan. These are the important things that you have to remember regarding payday loans. It is a basic lending that can be easily repaid. In times of financial troubles where you need instant cash, this sort of lending is the very best kind of financing that you can ever get. Cash advance loans, the most effective answer when you are caught short. There will come a time in your life where you will remain in desperate need of money, however will certainly be captured in between paydays. As a matter of fact, you might have experienced it in the past. If you did, after that you know just how this can actually frustrate a person. So, just how will you be able to increase the money you require quickly if your payday is still 2 or 3 weeks away? The most effective answer to this concern would be getting payday advance loans. Today, the majority of people are currently turning to this sort of car loan to get some financial alleviation when they are captured short of cash. The excellent feature of this loan is that there is no security. You do not need to risk anything to get the lending, such as your residence. Likewise, individuals usually settle this car loan before they even obtain telephone calls from creditors who are demanding their refund. Even if living from income to income can help you, you can never prevent having those horrible money issues that appears to creep up on you as well as catch you unsuspecting in between cash advances. Someday everything was in control as well as you had every little thing economically planned, and the following day comes to be a complete monetary turmoil. As well as, the most awful part of all of it is that your following payday is still in 2 weeks. You have no one in mind to provide you cash without carrying on, and also you likewise began to think of selling your uncommon infant truth baseball card. Nonetheless, before you begin marketing your things, you'll see that with the payday advance, you'll be able to get the cash you need pronto. To find a reliable lending institution, attempt asking your co-workers at work. There's a wonderful chance that they also have actually been in your circumstance as well as have used this sort of funding as a way to help them with their financial troubles. By doing so, you can be sure that it's credible and that it is a licensed company. So, what do you need to get this loan? First, you will need a certificate of employment, a proof of income or salary, such as your latest pay stub, and a checking account. When you have these things, then your money problem will be gone before you know it. Payday loans are short-term loans where it will not require any collateral from you. This means that you don't have to put up anything against the loan for security. The security of the lender is your paycheck. That's it. Although loans like this may have pretty stiff interest rates considering the brief term of the loan, you have to consider that this is the only choice you have and is the best thing that you can rely on in times of financial difficulties. Always remember that you need to pay the loans on time in order to prevent interest rates from getting any higher. You have to remember that there are also repercussions if you don't pay the loan on time, which can be additional interest rates on top of the fees, penalties, and most worrying of all, the damaged credit rating. Payday loans can save you from certain financial difficulties. However, you have to remember that this short-term loan can get quite expensive. So, you should only use it when you have exhausted your options in getting the money.